Hey everybody, it's the Professor, and once again, it's the one and only Blue Pill Professor, coming at you from the internet and talking to you about the things we really care about, namely, the nature of women, and what we are all going to do about it now that we have awoken from our long slumber.
Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below.
Brothers, what did we get ourselves into? Well, anyway, I guess we're not going to solve that today. I want to start out these series of tapes by thanking, with all of my heart, some of the MGTOW tape makers and audio video makers. These guys are doing yeoman's work. People like Sandman and Devlin the Comic and Stardust. These guys are really doing a good job. You should take the time to listen to their videos. But with all due respect, fellas, I think there's a little bit of, how do we put it, pain involved in your claims and your statements. Maybe a little bit too much pain. Maybe you need to see how it is in a year or 2 or 3 years. You know, guys, this is the long haul. You guys listen to this in Married Red Pill, you guys know this is the long game. And we're in this for the long haul, so a girl dumps us and we start making a bunch of MGTOW videos for a couple of years. And then what happens? Oh, you get another girl. That's not the way to think. And I don't think MGTOW is necessarily the way to go at this point. We can still win this, folks. We can win this. They only have the power that we give them. That's all I want to say. So thanks, Sandman. Thanks for this idea. And I hope some of my other Merper brothers will take the time to make some videos as well and express their thoughts. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, what is Married Red Pill? Well, to answer that, I have to tell you what is the Red Pill. For those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, this will just be a fun little introduction and a reminder. Look, the Red Pill is a metaphor. It is a concept drawn from the movie Matrix, where you open your eyes one day and you realize that the world is not what we have been told. Neo, in the movie, takes the red pill, and he wakes up in this horrifying computer-generated reality. He's connected to a machine, and he's in a cocoon, and his whole reality is computer-generated. It's not real. The reality is much more horrifying. And that is, in a nutshell, the red pill. That's what we're talking about. When we wake up and realize that everything, and folks, I'm not exaggerating when I say everything a woman ever told you about attraction and love and relationships, all of it was bullcrap. All of it was a lie. So the red pill is about putting aside the lies and moving forward with the newfound knowledge. And the red pill is a body of information that was developed in the 1990s through the use of pickup artists. And I know women hate pickup artists, but sorry, it works. And what we're doing in Married Red Pill is applying some of those ideas on female attraction and psychology to long-term relationships and trying to restore and revive our marriage. So that's what we're about. That's what I'm about. And I just want to say a couple things about unplugging. Again, using the Matrix analogy, when you unplug from the Matrix and open your eyes, it truly is a horrifying thing. We have been told all of our lives that women are great, women are sweet and kind, women are the loving gender, women, you have to, buy flowers to attract a woman. We have not been told the truth. And if you want to listen to this video, you're going to have to take the red pill. And you're going to have to accept that the commercialisms, the ridiculous slogans have all been created to deceive men. And maybe that sounds conspiratorial. Maybe it is. It happens to be what I believe, and it also happens to be part of taking the red pill. So the consequence of taking the red pill is that you have to unplug. You have to unplug from the female-dominated matrix. And for those of you who are in doubt as to whether or not we really are in a female-dominated matrix, shut up. I mean, seriously. How about fuck off instead? Women are 60% of college entrants, or college freshmen now. 60%, so it's 60-40. Back in the days when it was 42-58 in favor of men, that was cause for a riot. That was cause for protests. I mean, the sexist discrimination. We drug boys, young boys, 4 times the rate we drug females, maybe 10 times. I have to check the numbers on that exactly. It's a ridiculous imbalance. When we look at the suicide rate, there are 30, and this is a story I can tell you that exemplifies, that explains it all in a nutshell. I was arguing these issues with a group of females, 2 or 3 fairly close friends, and I pointed out that there are 36,000 suicides in the United States every year. And 32,000 of the 36,000 are men. And the women looked at each other, and one of them looked at me and squinted her eyes and said, but that means there's 4,000 women who die every year. Right, yeah, okay. So the 32,000 men don't matter, but the 4,000 women, we got to do something about that. And that's the society we live in. That, folks, is the red pill. And that's all I want to say about that for now. other than to point out the whole concept of unplugging is a very long, drawn-out process, and I direct you to the blog and do some readings in order to figure out whether or not you want to take the red pill. Because probably the greatest problem is when men discover that, especially married men, when they discover that women don't want to hear about your problem. They don't want to hear about your deep emotions, and they don't love you the way society and the way Disney has promised that you will be loved. There is no fairy tale, guys. And there's no such thing as unconditional love. She will trade you in a couple of months if you stop providing her what it is you're providing her. And if she doesn't trade you in, at the very least, she'll cut you off. So that's how you know when you're on that path. Because the cutoff will be nearly instantaneous. Dad dies, boom, your support is gone. You are alone. You lose your job, countdown started, baby. You better get a new job. You get depressed, the countdown's really started. Again, you better get a new job, and you better get a handle on it. That is, if you want to preserve your marriage. So the truth is that women, all women, including your wife, want a strong, masculine rock to lean on, especially during their monthly emotional roller coaster ride. All we've been told our entire lives about communication and sensitivity and be a good provider, and that's how you get a woman to love you. And in bottom line, that's how you make a woman want to have sex with you. Well, guess what? It was all bullshit. It was all a lie. It was all a shit test. And I'll talk about shit tests in the next tape. But that's what it was. It was a shit test that you failed. You fell for it. And I think this explains a lot of the anger when men are unplugging, because they realize they were schlups. You screwed up. You really screwed up. And many times for years and decades before you see the light. And when you unplug, you realize, oh, facepalm is really what it amounts to. And consider the situation for a divorced man, or a twice divorced, or 3 times divorced. Divorce is filed by women in 80% of the cases, usually for no reason, except that she is somehow, as we put it, unhappy. So she goes to find her happiness. He loses his wife. He usually loses his children, 1/2 his income, plus child support, and he gets to see his kids once a month while they live in the house and he lives in a single-bedroom apartment. And, of course, his wife is fucking the hot alpha guy in his bedroom, where his kids can hear her screams while he rails her. And folks, that's not an exception. That's not unusual. That's typical. That's extremely common. That's 1/3 of cases. And by cases, I mean 1/3 of marriages end up like that. And yes, okay, maybe 1/3 of marriages end up reasonably happy. You think it's that high? I doubt it. And it's in large part, I believe, because we've been lied to about the actual female attraction triggers. And I'm going to talk about those a little bit on this tape, or in a future tape, about various attraction triggers. But for now, I'd like to establish the groundwork of these Married Red Pill tapes. I'm going to be talking about marriage, but it's also red pill, so I'll be talking about not just relationships, but female psychology and some of the major issues in female psychology. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about shit tests. We will be talking about solipsism and hypergamy. It's not hypergamy, by the way, Raul. It's hypergamy. And a bunch of other really cool issues. Just want to remind you that since we're unplugged, since we see the Matrix for what it is, we don't support marriage in general. Marriage is a bad deal for men. It's a contract that's completely one-sided. And so, however, most of us in Married Red Pill, we are married. So we make do with the hand we've been dealt before we discovered the red pill and before we realized reality as it was. So we strongly believe that men should stay married. We believe in preserving the marriage because we're men and because we made a promise. So the next tape, I'll talk about female shit tests, and then we'll go on to a couple other issues with regard to female behavior. And in the third of these tapes in the series, whatever you want to call them, it's not actually a tape. It's like I guess an icon of a tape on an iPhone, right? So the third in the series is going to be about some of the foibles and the female psychology that you never learned in gender studies class. And then we're going to bring it back and talk about what you can do in your marriage to improve it, and specifically to improve the sex in your marriage. And I look forward... Oh, it's still on. I look forward to finishing up this series and educating a lot of people. Comment in the sections, do all that good stuff. And if you want to give a donation, just feel free.
That music means my time is up. So as always, I leave you with the words and wisdom of Mr. Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin.
But now's the time to look and look again at what you see. Is that the way it ought to stay?